Welcome to MCR's Biochemistry Lectures. This is Maria Caroline Rebello, Assistant Professor in Biochemistry, DG Vaishnav College. In this video, we are going to see about the regulation of gene expression in prokaryotes using lac operon as the example. We all know that DNA, the reserve bank of genetic information and the chemical basis of heredity, is composed of functional units, namely genes. The term genome refers to the total genetic information contained in a cell. Of the 4,000 genes of bacterial genome and around 30,000 to 40,000 genes of human genome, only a fraction is expressed at any given time. This is because the living cells possess a remarkable property to adapt to changes in the environment by regulating the gene expression. For example, insulin is synthesized by beta cells of pancreas and not by cells of other organs, say kidney, liver, etc., although their nuclei contain insulin genes. This is because the molecular regulatory mechanisms facilitate the expression of insulin gene in pancreas while preventing the same in other cells. Such control on gene expression or protein synthesis is called gene regulation. Before moving on to the regulation of genes, we must know that genes are considered under two categories: the constitutive genes and the inducible genes. The constitutive genes are those whose products are required all the time in a cell. Hence, these genes are also known as housekeeping genes. These genes are expressed at more or less constant rate in almost all the cells and they are not subjected to regulation. The genes that code for the enzymes of citric acid cycle is a very good example of constitutive genes. Moving on to inducible genes, these are genes whose products are required only at a particular time in a cell and they are regulated by various molecular signals. So there are molecules called as inducers which increase the expression of genes and repressors which decrease the expression of genes. Lactose in the lactose metabolism actually acts as an inducer. The regulation of genes is absolutely essential for the growth, development, differentiation, and the very existence of an organism. The gene expression can be regulated at any one of the following levels: the transcriptional level, post-transcriptional level, translational level, and the post-translational level. Having seen that, now let's move on to the regulation of genes in prokaryotes. In prokaryotes, the gene expression is mostly controlled at the transcription level. In the bacterial system, when several enzymes act in sequences in a single metabolic pathway, usually either all or none of these enzymes are produced. This phenomenon is called as coordinated regulation. This coordinated regulation actually results from the control on the synthesis of a single polycistronic mRNA molecule that encodes all of the gene products. There are two types of regulation of genes. One is a positive and other is negative. In the positive regulation, an effector or inducer molecule activates the promoter which promotes the transcription of mRNA. This positive regulation is also called as induction. In the negative regulation, an inhibitor or a repressor molecule binds to the operator and prevents the transcription of the relevant gene. Hence, this process is also called as repression. These regulations, the negative and positive regulations, are not mutually exclusive. What I mean to say is, some systems are both positively and negatively regulated. Having seen about the types of regulation, let us learn what is an operon. The bacterial genome is organized so that genes with a common function, say for example the synthesis of enzymes involved in the biosynthetic or degradative pathways, are often grouped together and regulated in units called as operon. It was scientists Francis Jacob and Jacques Monod who described the operon model in 1961 based on the regulation of lactose metabolism by the intestinal bacterium E. coli. They were awarded the Nobel Prize for the same in 1965. An operon is a coordinated unit of gene expression and it comprises two regions, namely the structural genes and the control genes. The structural genes are those that codes for a protein or a RNA, and the control genes consist of a promoter, an operator which also acts as the control site, and a separate regulatory gene. This separate regulatory gene codes for a protein that binds to the operator. So in this figure we have got the separate regulatory gene, then you got a promoter, an operator, and the genes A, B, C, D, which are the structural genes which undergo transcription to form the mRNA, and then they get translated to form the proteins A, B, C, and T. Based on the types of gene regulation, the operons are further classified into four types: the negatively controlled inducible operons, the negatively controlled repressible operons, the positively controlled inducible operons, and the positively controlled repressible operons. First, let us see how gene expression is regulated by inducible operons. Here, the transcription is usually off and needs to be turned on. In the case of negative regulation, under normal conditions, as we can see in the first figure, the active repressor binds to the operator, thereby preventing the binding of RNA polymerase to the promoter. Hence, the transcription does not occur. To bring about induction, the substrate binds to the active repressor, brings about certain conformational changes, and makes the repressor inactive. Now, this inactive repressor will not be able to bind to the operator, and hence the RNA polymerase binds strongly to the promoter without any hindrance, and the transcription is turned on. In the case of positive regulation, as we can see in the second figure, it is the activator molecules that play a major role. Under normal conditions, the activator remains inactive, so the RNA polymerase does not bind effectively to the promoter and hence transcription is off. Induction is brought about by the binding of the substrate to the inactive activator, which leads to conformational changes, thereby making it active. The activator now binds to the corresponding site in the gene and facilitates the binding of RNA polymerase to the promoter, and thus the transcription is turned on. The reverse happens in repressible operons. Here, transcription is normally on and needs to be turned off. In the negative regulation, as shown in the first figure, the repressor is inactive and so does not bind to the operator. This leads to the strong binding of RNA polymerase to the promoter and transcription occurs. To bring about repression, the product binds to the inactive repressor, brings about the necessary changes and makes it active. The active repressor then binds to the operator and prevents the binding of RNA polymerase to the promoter, and so here the transcription is turned off. In the case of positive regulation, the active activator facilitates the binding of RNA polymerase to the promoter and the transcription occurs freely under normal conditions. The repression is brought about by the binding of the product to the activator, which makes the activator inactive. Now, this inactive activator does not bind to its corresponding site, and hence the RNA polymerase also will not be able to bind to the promoter. This renders the transcription to be turned off. Now, let's see about the general organization of the LAC operon. As we have seen earlier, first we have got a separate regulatory gene denoted by LAC-I. This separate regulatory gene has a promoter and a terminator, and it's followed by the promoter gene LAC-P, the operator gene LAC-O, and the structural genes for lactose metabolism LAC-Z, Y, and A. This LAC-Z gene codes for the enzyme beta galactosidase, and LAC-Y codes for the enzyme galactoside permease, and LAC-A for the enzyme thiogalactoside transacetylase. We also can see the number of base pairs for each gene. It's around 1040 for the separate regulatory gene, 3075 for the LAC-Z gene, 1254 for the permease gene, and 612 for LAC-A gene. Moving on to the regulation. In the absence of lactose, the LAC-I, which is a separate regulatory gene, undergoes transcription and then translation to produce the repressor proteins. These repressor proteins binds to the operator and prevents the transcription of mRNA. RNA polymerase can bind to the promoter when the repressor is bound to the operator, but still it cannot initiate transcription. Hence, the structural genes are not expressed. The positive regulation of LAC operon occurs in the presence of lactose. When lactose is present in the medium, small amounts of lactose enter inside the bacterial cell and gets hydrolyzed to its isomer allolactose. So this allolactose binds to the repressor proteins and makes it inactive. Hence, the inactivated repressor cannot bind to the operator. So this facilitates the free binding of RNA polymerase to the promoter, and thereby the transcription is turned on, followed by translation. Now, let's see about the positive control of the LAC operon with catabolite gene activator protein. This catabolite gene activator protein is a dimer which consists of two identical subunits, and each monomer contains a DNA binding domain and a transcription activation domain. This cap is activated by a single molecule of cyclic AMP. It binds to approximately 22 base pairs at the promoter region called as the cap site and induces a large bend which allows the RNA polymerase to bind strongly at the promoter site, thereby facilitating effective transcription and translation. The cyclic AMP is synthesized enzymatically by adenyl cyclase. Its concentration is regulated indirectly by glucose metabolism. So when glucose level is low, the levels of cyclic AMP are high. Hence, the cyclic AMP readily binds with cap, and the cap cyclic AMP complex in turn binds effectively at the cap site. This increases the efficiency of polymerase binding, leading to high rates of transcription and translation of the structural genes. When the glucose level is high, the levels of cyclic AMP are low, and hence the cyclic AMP is less likely to bind to cap. So in turn, the cap will not be able to bind to the cap site, and hence the RNA polymerase also cannot bind efficiently to its promoter site. so little or no transcription occurs. So this effect of glucose in the expression of genes is also called as catabolite repression. We have seen earlier that lactose acts as an inducer of lactose metabolism, but this lactose is rarely used in experiments to study the expression of genes. This is because the beta galactosidase produced will act on lactose and reduce the level of lactose, thereby complicating the analysis of the lac operon. For this purpose, substances that resemble natural inducers but cannot be metabolized by the enzymes are used. These substances are called as gratuitous inducers. Isopropyl thiogalactoside and thiomethyl galactoside, the two sulfur analogues of lactose, are very good examples for gratuitous inducers. So that's all in this video. Hope you would have had a clear idea about the lac operon concept. Thank you.